Hubbard. Whether you're a student, faculty member, or just someone interested in what's happening in our community, GC360 is here to keep you informed and engaged. Coming up on GC360.
Studio is haunted. It's the ghost of the old producer.
You've never been more right in your entire life. GC360's favorite anchor, Jackson Schwartz.
As your favorite news anchor, here's what's coming up on GC360. We'll visit Magnolia Ballroom for a conversation between two major political parties represented on campus.
And we'll welcome a graduate student for a talk on the election. All of this and more on GC360, where news comes full circle. Welcome to GC360. What are the perceptions of students on the upcoming presidential elections? That's the question we ask ourselves as early voting reaches its end. Nicholas Wimbish is a graduate student at Georgia College who got his bachelor's in political science earlier this year. He teaches American government and is a pothole manager for the county's elections. On campus, he conducts voter registration drives. Today, he's here to have a conversation on the upcoming elections with Madeline Agostini. Madeline?
Thanks, Caroline, and thank you, Nicholas, for being here today. Welcome to GC360.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Awesome. Let's get started. So Georgia College has received recognition for their record number of student voters. Have you seen any initiatives on campus that you believe have contributed to this?
I think the number one thing that has, I think there's two things that have contributed to this, but it's kind of twofold in one. One being we had, I think, incredible success with our voter registration drives. Thanks to the American Democracy Project that Dr. Jan Hoffman's leading. I think, additionally, another project that she has tackled as it relates to the American Democracy Project is the weekly Times Talks, which get students very much engaged in what and faculty and staff alike as to current issues and what's going on in that and such of the world, and make students and staff and faculty aware of what is going on in the world, what the issues are. I think that holistic education, in addition to our voter registration drives and weekly Times Talks that are always here on campus, all the above majorly contributes to our high voter participation rate, as well as just students being here want to learn and change the world.
Absolutely. It definitely takes all of us. And when Vice President Harris took over President Biden's campaign early in July of this year, how do you think that impacted this election and its potential results?
At the first day that Vice President Harris took over and the day President Biden dropped out, it was really murky water. Mm-hmm. We had never seen any of this before. That since the modern invention of television, there has never been less time for a presidential candidate to campaign since Vice President Harris. With that fact in place, we didn't know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. My initial reaction was, this is the absolute worst thing for the Democratic Party to change the candidate about just over 100 days before the election. Yeah. But President Biden was underwater in a lot of national polls, but especially in those battleground state polls, including Georgia. Mm. He was way underwater. Vice President Harris, though, has really honestly given President Biden a run for his money. What Vice President Harris has been able to do is shore up that support that President Biden was lacking, in particular among African Americans in particular. Vice President Harris has made the race a lot closer than it probably would have been with President Biden at this point. She has run objectively with some mistakes, of course.
Yes.
But she's objectively run an incredible, for the lack of timeline, she said, she's run an incredible timeline operation, and it's dead heat in all 6 battleground states that will decide the election, being Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona.
And speaking of Georgia being a battleground state, how would you describe their role as a battleground state in this election?
Georgia's role in this election is huge. When you look at pathways for who's going to win the presidency, I would say Georgia's the second most important state.
Wow.
And regarding as to pathways, Vice President Harris really only has one pathway, and her pathway does not have to include Georgia. Her pathway, Vice President Harris cannot lose the state of Pennsylvania with its 19 electoral votes. If she wins the states of Michigan with 15 electoral votes and Wisconsin with 10 electoral votes, that gets her to 270, with her winning all of her safe Democratic states. Donald Trump does not have a pathway to win the presidency without Georgia. If Donald Trump wins Georgia and he wins Pennsylvania, that's enough for him to become the president, even if he loses all 4 of the battlegrounds. He could also do it with Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin is probably his next easiest feasible path. But Donald Trump has no way to win the election without Georgia. It's plausible for Vice President Harris to win the election without Georgia, but with that said, it makes Vice President Harris's electoral journey to the White House that much more difficult should she not win Georgia. So Georgia being a very pivotal pathway, a must-win for Donald Trump, just like Pennsylvania is not a must-win for Donald Trump, but it's much harder if he does not win Pennsylvania. It's a must-win for Vice President Harris. But with Georgia being a must-win for Donald Trump, it's going to make it that much more difficult for him, and virtually, I think, impossible for him to assume the presidency if he does not win Georgia. So Georgia's definitely first or second most important state in the whole country out of the 50. So Georgia's voters are going to have a major role to play.
That is incredibly fascinating. Thank you for that. And in your years of teaching students American government, how do you think Gen Z's role in this election will differ from other previous generations? Well,
I was having this discussion with a good friend of mine the other night who's pretty astute in politics. And probably every election, 2020 and before, pretty much, the age group of 18 to 29 would overwhelmingly go for the Democratic candidate. The age group of 18 to 29 is historically liberal, in a lot of cases even progressive.
Interesting.
What we have seen, though, this particular cycle, and particularly most students were liberal. Today, that's changing. We have, whether we're giving just participation assignments in class or class discussion of what do you think about this, the responses are overwhelmingly skewing to the think tank of Republicans and Donald Trump. I think this might be a result of COVID lockdowns and animosity toward the Democratic Party of young people not having a normal high school graduation, a prom, and things like that. I think those consequences are still playing out. I think also perhaps their parents are playing more of a role in their politics as well. But students are definitely skewing toward the right for sure. I took a poll the other day in 2 classes, had about 80 students combined in both. 58% to 41% vote, wants Trump. Sorry, I said that about females specifically. 69% to 31% of all students, male and female, want Trump in office. The females want Trump in office, 58 to 42. Now, here's the very interesting part. When we look at males in particular, they want Trump in office 94 to 6.
Wow.
So there's definitely somewhat of a gender gap, but even the females do not seem. It's interesting that out of this, albeit small sample, there's female students are overwhelmingly not that interested that there's a female presidential candidate running. So it definitely makes for an interesting thoroughfare, but students are skewing more to the right and more toward the Make America Great Again movement for sure.
That is definitely interesting to hear. And speaking of COVID and that impacting Gen Z in this voter cycle specifically, social media has grown exponentially in our generation and this age. And how do you think that is impacting this election?
It's definitely impacting this election. I would say I want to focus on TikTok for a minute specifically, because TikTok kind of just exploded right before the 2020 election. Absolutely. And it impacted the 2020 election somewhat. But this is the first election where TikTok has been around, really prominent and around for the whole campaign. I've had discussions with students of, I get my news from TikTok. Like they see a little video, that's their news. Still though, most speaking on the news topic, Pew Research studies have shown that most people still get their news via word of mouth of all people, so they hear about it from someone else. But as far as it relates to social media, I think both campaigns somewhat have done an effective job on social media with, there's social media advertisements up and down Facebook and up and down Instagram, which is where most of the students are. But also, additionally, that, we're in the 21st century and social media is definitely integrated in everyone's life. And some clip a Gen Z student or a Gen Z person sees of, former President Trump saying this or Vice President Harris saying this might impact their vote. So social media can definitely, one little post, one little offensive post, one little offensive video clip that's on social media can change a person's vote, especially a Gen Z person who's always arguably a lot of the time on social media.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I have for you today. Bobcats, thank you. And thank you so much, Nicholas, for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
In a recent forum, representatives of campus political organizations discussed potential outcomes of the election. Reporter Madeline Agostini was there.
We're in the final few days of the 2024 presidential election, and to commemorate the occasion, Georgia College's own Young Democrats Club and College Republicans decided to host a fully student-ran forum. The purpose of the forum was to educate student voters on their candidates' policies and what to expect if they were to be elected. Each club was permitted 2 minutes to answer questions, with Ezra Ryle moderating the time and asking the questions. They covered all the main points of this campaign season. Regarding abortion, here is Axel Hawkins.
A woman should never be impeded on her decision whether or not to have a child. The economic impacts, the personal impacts, the health impacts are too great to let that be a government decision.
Immigration is another huge topic of this election, and here is College Republicans Representative Samuel Kleppinger on the topic.
In 1 year, there were more encounters at the southern border than in the entire 4-year span of the Trump administration. Trump is very hard on the border, and this is one of his biggest issues. Everybody knows he's most famous for wanting to build a wall. That's one of his big mottos. And when Trump becomes president, he plans the largest domestic deportation in U.S. history.
To close the forum, each representative was permitted to state their reasons of why they believe their candidate should be the next president of the United States. For the College Republicans, here is Owen Jordan.
Ever since he's run for president, the Democrats, with their friends in the mainstream media, have constantly spread lies and disinformation about President Trump to make him out to be some wonderful dictator. And look where that's gotten us. It's gotten us to a place where the former president was shot in the ear and nearly killed. And then the Democrats want to talk about toning down the rhetoric. Well, here we are, 2 months later, and Donald Trump is holding a Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden.
Lastly, here is James Watts for the Young Democrats.
That's what we want. We want a leader who is willing to grow, willing to learn, and knows that in order to effectively lead, they have to lead, they have to grow, they have to learn. That is what we will get out of Kamala Harris. This election, frankly, we have a very, very important choice to make. We have to choose the type of politics that we want.
November 1st is the last day for early voting, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. So make sure to verify your voting locations at myvoterpage.gov and cast your ballot for this election. I'm Madeline Agostini reporting for GC360.
Coming up after the break, a campus club partners with a nonprofit program to encourage life-saving donations. And we'll learn about how Georgia College strives to keep students informed about sustainability.
And Beetlejuice visits the studio to give us the weather forecast. All of this and more on GC360.
Welcome back. According to the National Marrow Donor Program, there are over 41 million potential donors worldwide who can help patients in need. The organization recently took a trip to Milledgeville to encourage students to join the cause. Reporter Abby Helgestein has the story.
On Tuesday, October 22nd, the Georgia College STEM Club hosted their recurring Millie Science Cafe alongside the National Marrow Donor Program. The event, also known as Life Saving Match, took place at Allen's Market at 6:30 p.m. Both the STEM Club and the National Marrow Donors Program promoted the work of the organization and helped students learn more about bone marrow donations. Heather Vincent, the president of the STEM Club, shared her thoughts to how the group came about hosting this event.
So, STEM Club decided to partner and present with NMDP, which is the National Marrow Donor Program. So, Tri Beta, which is a biological honors site on campus, they're like national partners with NMDP this year, and they were hosting this drive, which we knew was coming up, and so we knew they were going to be on campus, and we wanted to see if they would come and present with us, because bone marrow donations, while they're very like medically related, there's also a lot of biological science, chemistry, very STEM core related topics at what actually is a transplantation, how it is bone marrow donations and stem cell donations affect that. So we wanted them to come in so we could talk about kind of the science behind what kind of is a bone marrow donation.
The event also helped to spread the word on the NMPD's presence on campus as they registered student donors for the program. Vincent also commented on the importance of bone marrow donations and how they can impact the lives of many in need.
Bone marrow donations, it's kind of a minority of surgeries you'll see happening in transplants. It's not as large of a health population, especially in Milledgeville. People might not know about bone marrow, kind of these more rare diseases, but it's still an important part of medicine to be able to help these kinds of people, because we have the science to help give these donations, to help these treatments and diseases. So it's just kind of helping take this smaller community and patients who are suffering disease and kind of allowing a community to learn about it, so maybe they can make an impact that maybe this person's family who's affected by this disease can't.
According to the NMDP, bone marrow transplants can cure more than 70 diseases and blood cancers, and therefore it is important to get potential donors registered. This would therefore increase the chances for a patient to find their life-saving match. Melinda Garrington, a representative for the National Marrow Donor Program, spoke about the goal of the event and their presence throughout campus.
Our goal is to add as many young, healthy donors to the registry as we possibly can. The ideal donors are 18 to 25 years old, which is why we partner with colleges and universities. And our goal is to register at least 100 donors, and we've already registered 94 today, which is fantastic, with 1 day to go.
Overall, the event was successful in spreading the word on the science behind bone marrow donations and how the National Marrow Donor Program is working to save the lives of those in need of such transplants. With the turnout of this event, many students are now part of the program to help those in need. Reporting for GC360, I'm Abby Helgeson.
Keep the earth green, Bobcats. Sustainability is crucial for maintaining our health and overall well-being. Reporter Andrew Brown talks to Georgia College's Office of Sustainability about on-campus efforts to stay green.
October marks the Campus Sustainability Month. A time for college campuses to go green and encourage students to do the same. GCSU and the Office of Sustainability make efforts throughout the year to ensure that environmental resources are put to good use. Chief Sustainability Officer Lori Hamilton gives her insights.
So we're responsible for our recycling plan on campus, recycling program, compost program, and the West Campus Garden. Those are our three main focused areas. So I sort of manage our intern group. We have 6 interns that manage, because all of our programs are student-run, so they manage all of those things.
The office is also comprised of student leaders doing their part around campus. Material Recovery Coordinator John Hollis gives more insight on sustainability at GCSU.
But one of the main ones that I have, aside from the ink cartridges and battery recycling, is glass, because we have a glass shed that we shred it on campus into glass sand that's recyclable for like a lot of different functions. So what we do is we use it in the garden for aeration and to have additional pore space for when like watering, things like that, aeration, as well as I've made a connection with Public Works in Milledgeville to donate a lot of the sand towards like making asphalt to rebuild roads, fill potholes, stuff like that. We should care, because it's like, I mean, if you plan on having kids, you want to help your kids, the next generation, actually be able to support themselves and provide. But honestly, like at the track we're going, we're just using everything up to where like our kids, like our grandkids, aren't actually going to be able to support themselves with the infrastructure we have today.
The Office of Sustainability's next event will be on November 8th, where they will be hosting a recycling audit on West Campus. Reporting for GC360, I'm Andrew Brown.
Hallie Bergstrom is coming back from the netherworld to give us the latest weather forecast for this Halloween weekend. Hallie?
I dare you to say my name 2 more times, Jackson. Bobcats, I hope you're having a great Halloween so far and plan to enjoy the spooky cool weather as we get into the evening. Tomorrow, we'll see clear skies in the afternoon and evening with a high of 84 and a low of 60. Saturday, we'll keep the skies sunny with a high of 83 and a low of 61. So, if you're still feeling in the spooky spirit, the local band Leland Farrell will be debuting with a Halloween-themed concert at Blackbird at 7 p.m. Sunday will bring the clouds back throughout the day and some slightly cooler weather with a high of 78 and a low of 60. Monday will be our first full week of November on campus and officially Thanksgiving season. So put on your cutest fall outfits for a high of 80 and a low of 61. I can't wait to see what fun outfits my friends will be cooking up. The sun will be peeking throughout Tuesday with a high of 83 and a low of 60. These temperatures will remain the same on Wednesday with the same high of 83 and low of 60. Both of these days will have some of the warmest temperatures of the week, so they would be great days to hang out on front campus and watch the leaves fall. Finally, Thursday will bring cooler weather to the week with a high of 82 and a low of 55. That's it for weather. Have a fantastic rest of your Halloween. Back to you.
Coming up after the break, stay with us to find out if there's any scary plays in sports this weekend. A nonprofit for the arts hosts outdoor community events to celebrate the fall season. And did any celebrities dress up today in the world of entertainment? All of this and more on GC360. See you after the break. Welcome back. Let's see what's kicking it in the world of sports. This week with Amelie Sengupta.
Hello, Bobcats! This past week, the Cleveland Browns traded Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. This filled the #1 spot for wide receiver spot for the Bills. Many fans are upset about this, including a young boy on the internet who had a lot of tears to shed. Fortunately for the Bills, according to SpotRack, Cooper was somewhat of a bargain, with the Bills inheriting over $800,000 left on Cooper's expiring contract. In some disheartening news, Stephon Diggs' first season with the Texans is tragically over after the football star obtained a knee injury against the Colts and found out with further testing he tore his ACL. I just hope the fantasy football punishments aren't too bad this year. The Atlanta Falcons beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past week 31-26, with Kirk Cousins throwing for 276 yards and 4 touchdowns. And turning to Bobcat sports, our cross-country team has been on fire this past season. GCSU recorded a 3rd-place finish at the Peach Belt Championship for men's cross-country. This was the team's best finish into the 2021 championship meet, so a big congratulations to you runners. Make sure to show up and show out for the NCAA Division II Southeast Regional Championship meet in Spartanburg, South Carolina, November 9th. That's all I have for you this week, Bobcats. Back to you.
Milledgeville's Allied Arts has most recently worked alongside the Lockerly Arboretum to host outdoor events with a creative twist. Let's join Irma Ali for the story.
The Allied Arts is a nonprofit organization located in downtown Milledgeville. Throughout the fall, they have been hosting seasonal events that will run through the month of November. So far, October has been full of weekly events in collaboration with the Lockerly Arboretum at Botanical Garden on Armington Road. Rebecca Tobar is the executive director at Milledgeville's Allied Arts. She shared her take on the program's collaboration with the Arboretum.
We're a nonprofit art organization, and one of our biggest desires is to build an art community that is for everyone in the community. So each month we have a different exhibit. We want everyone from young and families to college age to adults who, just doing their thing and need a creative outlet or enjoy art. And then all the way to senior citizens. We want everyone to come. Lockerly gives us an amazing outdoor space to be a part of. But specifically, right now, they are hosting their first art exhibit, which is forest forms, outdoor sculptures that are incredible. Hulani May is the artist. And so we've gotten to be a part of it by having art activities that kind of gear towards imitating her artwork in other art disciplines. We've had a lot of fun with the origami as well and the wire art, which is difficult, but very fun. So that collaboration has been fantastic. But Lockerly is just also a beautiful place in our community, and they are very community-minded. Allied Arts is very community-minded. We love to partner with them because we just really want to strengthen our community and bring everyone together.
Lockerly is also located in downtown Milledgeville, where their outdoor green space is a massive area great for hosting events. Jasmine Smith, a volunteer at Allied Arts, shares her insights on the events the venue has to offer.
So Allied Arts this month of October, they've been hosting art events here at Lockerly because who wouldn't want to be out here? It's so pretty. So they've just been doing events where like kids, family, people of all ages can come and do art. This week, they're painting rocks.
For anyone interested in getting involved in an artistic event or just to simply mingle with the community, the Allied Arts of Milledgeville has something for everyone. Reporting for GC360, I'm Irma Ali.
Cultural resets, pivotal moments, and candid events are iconic in entertainment. Let's see if one of those has happened recently with Madeline Agostini. Madeline?
It's me, Fiona. Entrepreneur and famous artist Rihanna has just launched a new collection of matching pajamas for families to rock this holiday season. Rihanna's brought her two sons, Raya and Riza, to pose with her for the Savage x Fenty's new pajama collection. In other exciting news, Shaun White and Nina Dobrev have officially announced their engagement. The actress and Olympic snowboarder have been together since 2019. After Dobrev faced a knee injury this summer enjoying her now fiancé's favorite sport on the slopes, Shaun had to push back his plans to pop the question, but as we can see, better late than never. Congratulations to the happy couple. Moving on and taking us back to 2020 is Joe Exotic with the news that he has become engaged to a fellow inmate in a Florida prison. He has found happiness with a man from Mexico named Jorge Marquez, but he still has about 20 years left in his sentence, but he has stated that he has found the one to keep him company. That's all I have in entertainment this week. Back to you, Caroline and Jackson.
That's all for GC360 this week, Bobcats. Thank you for joining us today, and make sure you tune in next Thursday at 4 p.m. on NBC TV 4 through the CableCast app. I'm Jackson Schwartz.
And I'm Caroline Hubbard. When we're not on the air, we keep you up to date on our social media. That's at GC360 News on Instagram and YouTube, and at bobcatmultimedia.com/GC360. Always available to you where news comes full circle. See you next week, Bobcats.